Was on Facebook yesterday, got tagged in a post from old teammate in high school. I'll read you the post. It says, here's a topic for discussion. We have people kneeling for the anthem in protest of police violence and racism. Now, can someone tell me how this ends? How is this even measurable? What are the stats and cases people are referring to? Does there need to be public executions of police officers in Times Square? Police departments disband and people just work to the honor system? When the criminal element takes advantage of the weak, which does happen, who stands up for the weak? Just saying, you started a protest. Just curious what your goal is and how you measure success. As in the case with most liberals, I am sure they have not thought that far in advance. Would like to hear your thoughts. Okay, so that was written on his page, in which most of the people on there, well, none of them are protesting. So who are you asking the questions to? So he tagged me in it, and I'm not protesting either. So I don't know how and why people think other people can answer questions from others' actions. We could try to. I mean, I could assume, just like how he could assume. I guess he said liberals. That was an assumption. It was amazing to me that none of the people on there want to be involved in the protest, but yet they don't want to contact the people. There's many different platforms that they can contact the people, but they want to go on their platform with all of their people that they already know think like them, because they've already been having conversations. So I knew that's why I was tagged in it, because I'm not tagged up in anything else. So I didn't engage in the topics questions because I don't know how to answer what other people are doing. But I did see that his boy, looks like Joe McAuliffe, he had this fake meme up there. It says, maybe the punk ass players, coaches, staff, owners will protest their oppressive paychecks next. And so there you have it. It's like, that has nothing to do, like, they want to go to, so they're punk ass players and coaches and so on and so forth, and oppressive paychecks. Now you get to see what happens is, now we're getting away from the protests and we're talking about people's paychecks now. Didn't know that was a part of the equation. But what I did see was a fake meme that he had posted. It was the same one that they busted Donald Trump out for posting, that's from a false place. And it says it's from USA Crime Statistics Bureau out of San Francisco. What he didn't know was that's not even a real place. I came on here and told him that it was funny that he posted that, but that's a lie. And it was basically showing the whole blacks killed by whites percentages. Blacks killed by police, whites killed by police, whites killed by whites, whites killed by blacks, blacks killed by blacks. The whole point of him posting that I found out was, and what I just learned is that so-called white people want to tell so-called black people how to do something that they've never done and they're never doing. They don't like the protest, so they're going to tell you how to do it so they'll like it, even though they're not involved in it, period. They're peons to the protest, right? These are people that are just at their homes talking about that pissed them off. Yeah, protests piss people off. Parades and marathons piss me off when I want to drive through. The traffic at the Super Bowl in South Beach pisses me off. All the people trying to get there. You're going to get pissed off in life, and that's this life. And there's a lot of other people that are trying to accomplish things. And you're trying to accomplish something, and you're having a feeling and an emotion about it, even though it has nothing to do with you. Cool, you can express your opinion. But you're not going to tell people what to do and how to do it. But that's what I learned. That's what these people are doing. They think that they're going to tag me in a post, say something, and then I'm going to keep asking questions. I'm going to ask 1,000 questions to all my people that haven't protested shit ever. But I want to get their thoughts on it, though. What do you guys think? How do you think this is going to end? I mean, we've never protested shit, but go ahead and tell me what your thoughts are, Mary. Or let me see, Sherry, sorry. Joe, Travis, what? Travis, what? You ever protested, man? No. What do you think about it? Like, do you guys know how dumb it sounds? You don't, though, but I get it. That's why I don't get mad. That's why I didn't even go and engage in it, right? But what I engaged in is when there's fake memes that all these other people are talking about the country being divided, and when people are coming on here posting fake memes and trying to tell a certain group of how to do something. So everybody that's like that, they always want to go to the black on black crime. And they want to say, well, we don't hear you guys talking about that. Yeah, and I tell them, we don't hear you talking about white on white crime. There's way more, you guys, and there's way more so-called white people killed by white people than there are black people killed by black people. And we don't hear you either. We don't hear no one. We don't hear no group talking about their own crime on themselves. Not one. So that's normal. You dumb fools. Like all this stuff. And the dude kept saying, post some statistics on black crime. Post them on black on black crime. I'll post it after you post the white on white crime. What is that? What? The post was talking about how the protest ends, but then here's what they do. They try to change the narrative, just like you watch every news channel right now. The anthem protest, the NFL anthem protest, the anthem protest. So now they've made it be about the anthem. It's just funny to me. Nobody's talking to all you black on black crime people. No group is talking about crime on crime of the same ethnicity. None. No one's talking about that. But just to let you know, since I'm a part of that community, we've been talking about that. We talk about that all the time. Matter of fact, I've been in the NFL locker room. And it's talked about. But just like in people's homes that might be getting a divorce or whatever have you, somebody may be sick, they're not making public announcements about in-house stuff. Nobody's announcing their dirty laundry to everybody else. For what? They're handling that in-house. That's why you don't hear nobody talking about white on white crime. You don't hear nobody talking about so-called Mexican on Mexican crime. Nobody's talking about that. I'm trying to teach you guys because you guys keep bringing that up. And the next thing on it is you're not going to tell the group what to do. You can try to. It's not going to work. And all you guys are doing is this, I guess, like you said, you're pissing yourselves off. I put up the real stats. I guess they assumed because I was black, and there probably was no one else that was black that was tagged into the thing, so-called black, is that, oh, hey, a black guy got on the thread, so he must be for Black Lives Matter, and he's for this, and he's for that, so I'm going to ask him, show me this. No, I came on here and commented to you about your fake-ass stats. You wanted me to come on there and talk about black-on-black crime. So I said, I just learned something. They think that they're going to tell you what to do and how to do it and when to do it. You guys are sadly mistaken if you think that's going to happen. You're not telling anybody what to do. You could say you don't like it, and you could express it that way, but you're not going to tell us what to do. Here's an example. So Joe says, I asked him what is he going to do about white on white crime, because he asked me, why aren't the players talking about black on black crime? Why aren't they announcing that to everybody? So I asked him, why isn't anybody talking about white on white crime? He said, Adrian, I have no solution for white on white crime. I don't give a shit. Also, white people aren't bitching about it. Next. Exactly. Y'all aren't bitching about it. But yet you're bitching about another group that's not bitching about it. You're bitching about another group that's complaining about police brutality, and you're saying, why aren't y'all bitching about y'all killing each other? Doesn't make sense to me. You're more worried about what someone else is bitching about, that you're going to bitch about what they're not bitching about. Man, that's what's funny to me. I just sit back and watch all of it because, you could tell intelligent people. Here's what I wrote to Joe. I said, I don't know where you got that fake ass meme from, but here are some real stats for you. Among the roughly 6,000 cases in which the race of a victim and offender were known, the number of blacks killed by blacks rose to 2,380 last year, an increase of about 8% from 2014. Often less discussed, the consternation of experts and columnists is the phenomenon of white on white homicides. The number of white people killed by other whites rose 3.5% to 2,574 victims in 2015. White on white killings as a percentage of all homicides involving a white victim also fell to 81.3%, marking the lowest share of such killings since 2001. The margins are small, fluctuating by less than 3% points in the last 15 years. Since 2001, the share of black on black crime and white on white homicides as a proportion of those killed of each race peaked at 91.9 and 84.2% respectively. Those were the stats. That's what I came on there and commented to him. Just since he was a stat guy, I just decided to give him the real stats. Here comes my old teammate, Paul Blanford. He asks, what's my source? So I post the link of where I got it from. First, Joe says, if you read the bottom of the picture, it came from the Crime Stats Bureau of San Francisco. He didn't know that I already knew that that's what it says on there. He thinks that that's where it comes from. He decides to tell me, again, we aren't talking about whites. Get the correct data together. We aren't talking about whites. I know you aren't. I'm talking. So that's what I just learned. You see that? Like, he is going to tell me what he's not talking about. I know what you're not talking about because I know what I'm talking about. So that's what I just learned. I just learned that when they don't want you to do something, they get upset that you're not doing what they want you to do. He wanted me to talk about black on black crime, and he wanted me to give stats on blacks, but when I gave it on whites, he wanted to tell me he's not talking about it. So I said, Joe, I can read. The meme had whites killed by whites and blacks killed by blacks. And the link I posted has it all. Go check it out. You gave the solution on how to stop being killed by the police. What's your solution on white crime? He says, Adrian, again, we're talking about the blacks killed by cops. There isn't anyone protesting and looting and burning shit, targeting whitey for killing whites. It's Black Lives Matter and their he said sim, and then he put in parentheses, pathetic, or in quotes, I should say, sympathetic supporters that are bitching about that 1%. There isn't any so-called white complaining about white on white crime either. I don't hear you bitching about that. See, so the very thing that he wants to point out that he doesn't hear about another group bitching about it, when I point to his own group not bitching about it either, he just says, we're not talking about that. Right. So when we're talking about this group and their agenda, why do you start talking about what they're not talking about? See what I'm saying? I just like to deal with people how they communicate. Joe, you want me to only talk about what you're talking about, but you want other people to talk about what you want to talk about. So right now, why didn't you talk about what I want to talk about? See how easy it is? But that's how my brain goes. It's probably moving too fast for Joe and the boys over there on Paul's page. Oh yeah, so Paul Blanford says, so I looked at your article and it shows the bias as usual. First, whites include those of Hispanic descent. So that means now Mexicans are white. Just throw your numbers onto whites to help the numbers. See all of the ownership in there? Just throw your numbers. It's not mine. I just posted the link up there. I didn't make up the numbers. But why didn't Paul question his boy Joe's fake ass meme? See how he questioned mine? First he said, what's the source? Where are you getting your information from? But he didn't say that to Joe's though. So I gave it to him. Then he breaks it down into who's included in the white group. But in Joe's meme that just had whites and blacks, there is no breakdown of what's included in that white group. Right? So I learned that. I'm like, man, like, funny, huh? Are you? Okay. Can't make this up. I'm just explaining to you guys how I see it, because you guys never see this because you're always talking and you're like, hey, Mary, like, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about them doing that? Have you ever done that? You guys are too busy doing that you don't want to stop and hear people telling you. I know you don't know. I know it pisses you off. That's why it's being done. You know, like it's almost like restriction back in the day. It's almost like timeout. You might not be messing up, but some of your folks are. Some people up in the system are. So you can be emotional about it, and that's good. You have the right to be. But unless you're creating codes, creating statutes, or so-called law, it doesn't matter. You don't matter anyway. You and your feelings don't matter because you're not making nothing up. So the protest isn't for you. You might be included in it, and whatever piece you want to choose to be in it or not, or feel however you want to feel, but it's talking to much people higher than you. You don't mean a thing of it because you're not any action in it. People can hear your emotions and it's fine. Cool, be mad, that pissed me off. There's a whole lot of stuff that pisses everybody off, but that's not going to stop you from making other people do what the hell they're doing. Just like back on this post that Paul posted, they wanted me to talk about black on black crime and Black Lives Matter. Everything that they asked for, I gave them, and then they broke it down. Cool, I don't mind you breaking it down because I'm not coming from a negative space. I'm not entering it to try to create negativity. Paul says, if all groups are doing bad, why is it only the blacks in the streets burning shit up and saying they're being wronged? I don't know. You're the other group that's not doing it. So why don't you tell me? See how I did that? See how backwards ass his questions are? When we don't like shit, you hear us complaining about it, especially Adrian Ross. You could ask it, every school, coaches, players, whatever I played with, they heard me when I didn't like something. Paul, ask yourself that. Ask Mary and all the other people that you posted on here. Ask them that. I'm not so-called white. Why do I know why you're not in the street burning shit? right? Why aren't you? Answer that for me. Y'all are on here bitching about other people and how they're doing something. That's why. You guys are too busy bitching about what someone else is doing and y'all not liking it. That's why y'all aren't out there. I hope y'all learned something from that, from the dialogue, because when I do posts, I try to learn from everybody. You know, there's things that are said that I don't like, but it gives me a better understanding or perspective, whichever it is. I could possibly get an understanding from certain things from a lot of different people. It requires listening. And so this so-called majority in this land that we're living in, they're not used to having to see. Like now with social media, there's microphones. Everybody can have a microphone, and there's nothing new. This so-called black group, when I say we, the Moors, the natives, when we've been protesting for years. It's nothing new. And I don't really think that most groups on the so-called white side have liked it. So it's so funny for me to hear those of you that call yourselves so-called white, the Europeans. I don't understand what you think is going to happen. You're expressing something to people and saying you don't like it, and for most of you, that's already known. They're not really even talking to you. They're talking to the people that can change the codes and the laws and so-called laws and all that stuff that they're under these fake ass labels. I see the tennis match of the emotional people, and that's all sorts. It's not, you're thinking probably black and white, but it's like, no, like it's whether you're emotional or not. And if you're emotional and you're emotional, well, then it just is on what side are you on? That pissed me off. I loved it. Or, you know, that's what sports is generally. Have you noticed that it's either a group of people in a certain uniform going against these other people, and they want people to do this, have all these feelings, have all these emotions, and having emotions every day is good. So, yeah, so-called white people, Paul, Joe, you guys need to get with yourselves and ask yourselves these questions. Don't ask me white guy questions. Don't ask me, why don't you see white people out there doing it? I don't know. You're the white guy. Like, I can see by what you wrote. I mean, like you guys said, like, we're not talking about whites. I don't really even use that language. I'm just communicating with you guys and going and being very specific to the post. You know, don't ask other groups that aren't that about yourself. And then at the same time, this is my advice to you. You don't have to listen to it, but you're not going to tell another group what they're doing and or what they haven't done. The rhetoric of you haven't heard anybody talking about black on black crime. Yes, you're just telling everybody that you're not in the black community. You don't hear a whole lot of shit when you're not in that community. So surprise, you're surprising yourself. Everybody else already knows that by how and what you write and the questions you ask. We know you're not in the black community. I saw this a couple weeks ago. That's why I'm able to have this show right now. You guys taught me a lot. Is you guys think that you could tell another group what to do because you don't like it, and that's not going to work. So if you want to save yourself some stress, listen to what I'm telling you. You're not going to tell the other group what to do. You're not going to tell them what to do and how to do it. You're not listening to them if they told you to do something. Same thing. But the difference is the other group isn't trying to tell you what to do. They're telling you how to treat them and how they want to be treated. See the difference? There's one group saying, we don't like that, do it like this. When it comes down to the so-called anthem protest or the kneeling protest, whatever category you want to put it in, there's a whole lot of different ways a protest can go. I didn't invent it. So we have seen what it was and what it is and what it's moving on to be. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you could do things. But for me, the conversation, it was the words after, because I'm looking at it knowing that's not normal. God has played 5-6 years and all of a sudden he's doing this. What does he have to say? So after, I'm looking at the interview. But again, if you're an emotional person and you just went off the emotions of that pissed me off, not them, my grandmother, my grandfather was this, my so-and-so, my uncle, my brothers fought. You're just being emotional yourself. You're not from here. So your ancestors came here and killed people to put the flag up. So you guys have to be careful when you say we and us and so on and so forth, because a lot of you are including other people that you don't interact with or know anything about to the capacity that you think you do. You know, that's just like some of the people on here that I've learned in the past week was, you're not the same guy I knew at Elk Grove. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I'm a grown ass man now. Like that was a kid then, and you didn't know me then. You weren't at my house. You weren't coming over. You weren't calling me up. So yeah, I'm different. I'm way different if you're going all the way back to Elk Grove High School. If you're going all the way back to Colorado State, I'm probably pretty much that same guy there though. But but yeah, like I hope that you're different. But I see a lot of you aren't. You know, and that's everyone's choice. It's cool to have your emotion about something, and it's cool to express it. But just know that when talking to other groups that you're not involved with, you're never going to be able to tell them what to do. Not going to work. There's certain entities that profit off of this, and they profit off of making all the headlines, you know, making all the magazine covers and so on and so forth, having all the talk shows, bringing up the people to talk and getting their opinion on the protests. That's all I see is everybody getting their opinion. So I noticed that they play on emotions. They want to get everybody on the, hey, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you hear what he said? Did you? Meanwhile, all this other stuff is flying by us, and we, the people, are dying. We, the people, are getting killed. We, the people, are the ones being taken advantage of just us peons. Like we're all the peons compared to the system. And the system's working as long as we continue to have at every level the emotion match going on. Not everybody has ill intentions. And I hope that was my point of telling you guys and taking too much time actually on Paul's post. But I just wanted to show you guys that it's things like that. I'm just coming on saying, hey, if you really want some stuff answered, here's some real numbers. Black on black crime is at 90% and white on white crime is at 83%. But then the attack on me on, hey, you show me, we ain't talking about white on white crime. Why don't you show me some stats? This fool, I'm like, this fool though, I think you gonna tell me what to comment? It's comedy. I think it's exactly what the NFL actually really wanted from the poor ratings. If now we can get everybody to tune in before the game, y'all will all be watching to see what they do, you know? But it's just the action behind nothing if nothing's said behind it. So that's just how I see it. But all right, appreciate you guys. Check me out, Adrian Ross _ Mad Backer on Instagram, YouTube / Mad Backer. My Mad Backer channel has a lot of stuff on there. Go ahead and go on there, check it out. Check out the up the seams, or I don't have the up the seams on. I have the Merc sessions. Check out my Merc sessions breakdown of good run gameplay. I have some other stuff going up there, loading up there. I have a lot of good things on there for you Moors. Go on there, check out the More tab, check out some videos, start educating yourself so you stop saying that you're black. Same thing for so-called white people that call themselves white. Start getting educated on who you really are, because there's no land of white, there's no land of black. And all right, wish you guys the best.